Thanks for joining Real Talk with Natoya Perkins. If you are joining for the first time on this channel, go ahead, subscribe to get the entire series of this topic. What does it mean to be jealous in a relationship and in the Bible? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Real Talk. Today I have with us Shannon McLeod, have Norman Grant Jr. Also, we have Mr. Martin Matthew.
I also invited Juanita Hunter. She is a guidance counselor. Let's continue from last week.
Children are born, usually back in the day, they said yes, they have 10 fingers and 10 toes, so they're good, but they need so much more. You know what I mean? And as they develop, if they don't have the level of support that they need, especially with all these broken homes, well, I can't even call them broken homes now because they're in the majority. Yeah. When you talk about single family homes and blended families, which are now in the majority, a lot of the things that people need to develop, that children need to develop into adults, are lacking.
Right.
Or they're not getting as much as they need, or they're not getting the balance that they need. You understand? And because of that, I think all of these situations come together to create insecurities. Right. And because the insecurities are created, the jealousy comes behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So people are entering into marriages, entering into relationships as insecure people going in. You know what I mean? So the rate of divorce, the rate of relationships that fail and all these things is as high as it is.
Right.
Because I think from the get-go, there's so many people, so many of us normal people that are just not getting the wholesome childhood experience to develop us in a wholesome way. So you, Natoya, you just mentioned, you know, you have to disavow yourself, you have to have this for yourself, and that's great. However, the way a lot of kids are coming up now, they don't have it and they're never going to have it.
Right.
By the time they get to our age, if they don't develop that concept of self-purpose and self-discipline and self-trust and self-worth, then they're just going to go into relationships the same broken, for lack of a better word, the same broken way that they are. And then the insecurities are going to just trickle in behind.
And then they can do like David and Bathsheba and Uriah. Because David, who set up the Uriah to get his wife, Bathsheba, watch her day in, day out, jealous of the man. And he has concubines, he has his own wife, and he still sat there for days watching the woman, you know, on the house top, and set up the man to kill him, put him at the front of the battle. So you still, as you rightly say, you know, it's the way you were brought up. You know, so jealousy.
The girl, I did just good as, man. The girl are good as.
good as. Yes, guys. So
Natalia, I'm thinking though, was it really jealousy or was it envy?
Probably envy.
Both. I'd say envy, you know, because
I wouldn't say envy, you know, because remember he has his own and he was a king. So
let me tell you why I say envious. I can jealous of a lifestyle, but I'm not jealous of this person's. I don't want what this person has, but I'm jealous. I know that I can also have it just like this person because this person shows me that it's possible, right? Now, when you talk about being envious, you're talking about coveting someone else for what they have, even though you may have the very same thing, right?
Right.
You know, sometimes I'm jealous, but I'm not envious. I'm not envious. I just think, you know, the lifestyle that you portray, I want to emulate that, right? I think when you find yourself being envious, it's like you have an expensive phone, you have an expensive car, but you still see someone with something as good as what you have, but you still think you need that as well. You know, I wouldn't sort of say that is jealousy. I would say that's being envious. You know,
but would it be a thin line?
Envy.
Exactly. So that's what. So it's fuel. So I would say it's a thin line between both. Because when you're talking, I hear the envy coming in. But then when I said, but then at the same time, Martin mentioned about all the other men in the scripture, and even God, jealous God.
My perspective of God being a jealous God. This is what there are so many times that we give our attentions elsewhere that we could be giving to him. I mean, even let's look at us right now. We could be having prayer meetings.
We could, we
right?
very well could.
But we are here having a discussion about jealousy, right?
Right.
I mean, how many times we posted on social media since the day I started? But how many times have we read our Bible since the day I started? So in that concept, yes, I would say God is jealous to the point where we're not giving him the time that we give to someone else. No. Is he envious of that? No. I think he's just jealous because he wants us, to give him
the
what
time
he deserves.
There are two emotions that I think are foundation of human existence. Love and jealousy. And you can say to an even greater extent, envy. That's how the devil came about, was his jealousy for what Jesus had and wanted to be like him and placed above him, right? And love is that characteristic that is supposed to devour jealousy and show how you can exist even when jealousy is prevailing or rearing its ugly head, right? And so God is showing us that, hey, even though you can have some flashes or moments when you're jealous about something, like Martin said, it can be fueled positively to grow, to develop into your character into something better than what you presently are. Or you can make it consume you to the point of envy, and then it destroys you and the person who, in David's case, where he was destroyed him and destroyed the guy and destroyed the family and destroyed the whole thing, because you're trying at that point through selfishness to just feed yourself. When love takes a broader scope and everything, it no longer takes the focus. It takes the focus off you, right, and puts it on somebody else or on a group or on people. It's no longer just about yourself. And so when you take these two foundations or two emotions that have been there forever, right, we misconstrue it a lot of times, and we take it goes in many different directions, and people put all different type of filters on these emotions and make them what they could be, should be, want to be, and destroy. I often say most relationships, if they're not centered around biblical or Christian principles, you're going to find flaws because it's not really using the right filter. It's using something else that has not been tested or proven.
All right, Juanita, let's hear from you.
Us as individuals being so jealous to a point where we cannot function, or we find that we become full of anger and bitterness towards other persons, that cannot be good for us as individuals. And so the other thing about jealousy being a sign of love, I mean, have you ever been in a relationship? I mean, there are always those moments when you feel jealous because, you love this person. But, as I was discussing with somebody at my workplace, talking about this little tidbit on jealousy, and the gentleman said, when you're jealous and you're consumed by jealousy, it's because of insecurities. And so I want to put forward that jealousy is not a sign of love. The scripture in 1 Corinthians verse 13, 4-5 says that love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious. Love does not boast, it is not proud, it is not dishonoring of others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongdoing. So jealousy in its extreme nature, being very angry, being very bitter, wanting this person all for yourself and not wanting them to have a mind of their own or wanting them to interact with other persons, that cannot be love. So And in any relationship, there will be jealousy, but the extremeness of that jealousy cannot be a sign of love. Oh, this man, he doesn't want me to talk to anybody else, so he's super in love with me, and I'm so special and I'm so wonderful. It will feel that way eventually. But when that jealousy becomes a red flag is when that person believes that your time and all of your attention must be given only to them and to nobody else. So this now becomes excessively possessive. So when jealousy reaches to a place of possession where this individual wants you to only have a life with them, this individual only wants you to socialize with them, only wants you to have fun with them. You can't see relatives, you can't see friends, you can't talk to anybody, you can't go anywhere. So anything that you're going to do for the rest of your life, it has to be with them. If it is not with them, then it's not okay. That kind of jealousy is not a sign of love, and it is so much of a red flag. When you see this, you need to run like thief. This is not some relationship that you need to stay in. You need to come out, you need to cut, you need to take away yourself.
Red flags, and take away yourself. Subscribe for next week's episode on Real Talk with Natoya Perkins.